Ladies and gentlemen, the easy campaigns in the battle for Wesnoth are, well, they speak for themselves. So I sat wondering, how do we make them more difficult? It was then I realized, what if we take recruiting or recalling, Wesnoth's main mechanics, out of the game? In our previous installment, we covered A Tale of Two Brothers, the shortest campaign. Today we will be attempting Liberty, the campaign about resisting the evil queen. To start, let's put it on easy. We're already going to be suffering enough. Scenario 1. There's nothing to talk about. You can't build, so this is literally the dev intended way. Scenario 2. We start facing off against cavalry and spearmen, with a few allied peasants who die quickly. They're good for buying time and burning daylight. Before we go any further, we need to understand our two main characters for this campaign. Harper is a footpad, a fast and hard to hit unit that does very little damage. Baldress is a thug, a slow, easier to hit melee unit that has a strong attack. We're neutral and after this mission chaotic, versus our lawful opponents, so we prefer to fight at night, and they want to fight during the day. The only problem with any strategy is that the enemy horsemen love grouping up to take out Harper, and eventually they'll hit that frail kid enough to end him. It seemed to me that our chances of winning were up in smokes already. To make things easier, I had to come up with a plan. We need to raise the difficulty. Scenario 1. The difference between difficulties is quite small, but it is important. The enemy Wolf Riders will be at a higher level than their lower difficulty counterparts. Higher level enemies give out more XP, and we need to get Harper either leveled or close, so that he can survive the next scenario. Our strategy synergizes with the intended path to victory. We need to cut off the Goblin Riders before they reach our city with our fast units, and flank with our slow units to deal big damage. Locking our enemies in place allows us to force kills with whichever unit we want. Don't be afraid to let the riders kill some of your troops. You won't be seeing any of them again. Scenario 2. That's a lot of horses. Let's lower the difficulty. With our more experienced men, we can push through with a proper plan. By going south, we take advantage of the split enemy forces. We camp the southern villages to heal and beat up the enemy, then do the same when their northern force arrives. The enemy leader is doing the same challenge as us, so once we finish off his starting troops, we simply make our way towards him and take him out as well. Well, that's easier said than done. We get to him as day breaks, and the scenario's short timer means we can't wait until night. What's more, our enemy is a level 3 unit compared to our level 2s, so he packs a punch and has a lot of health. He's not invincible though, so we just lock him into place so he can't run to a village and just hope for good rolls. Scenario 3. Attacked on two fronts, we have to work together with an ally to take out our foes. Fortunately, our friend can build units, so our side has some actual firepower. I shouldn't have done this on easy. The ally is strong enough to win on her own. It felt like a cutscene. On harder difficulties, the play is to stall the orcs while our friend takes out the Saurians up north, then slowly walk up and bop the orc. Scenario 4. Another friend to fight beside. This time our enemy cheats, with units that turn chaotic at night and lawful during the day. We let our friend soak up the damage during the day. The enemy has horsemen with charge, which will devastate us if it connects. Then, we take initiative at night. The undead have a crippling weakness against impact damage, which is all we have. So we're at a huge advantage against them when the lights go out. Scenario 5. Once again, the dev intended way is to not build units, so this is doable. Rather easy, in fact. The only comment here is that the enemies are powerful and can take out our troops quickly, so it's ill-advised to greed for XP. Scenario 6. We team up with a wizard and his two underlings. On another team, we once again have a... Wait, I have to control them both? The two extra wizards don't need to survive this scenario, so we have sacrificial pawns for this map. It's good to have magic on our side. The flat 70% chance to hit for magic attacks make them extremely powerful. Our job is to take out a constant stream of patrol units without letting them be seen by the outpost, chipping away at the Crown's army. Try to stick to the woods. The defensive bonus is worth it. The biggest priority of each patrol is the leader, since without him, the other soldiers will not continue moving towards the outpost. We have 2 villages to use for healing, so we'll want to cycle units through there whenever we can. The extended day-night cycle means we'll have an easy time during the night. We try our hardest to level up the level 1 mage during that time, and get ready for morning. When daytime begins, we're in a very difficult place. Falling back near the edge of the woods is our best plan to do with the patrols. By shifting our battle lines back, we can burn daylight, lessening the time we're in a disadvantaged position. Unfortunately, we are still forced to fight. We lose if a single unit gets by. The aforementioned pawns find their place to be used. We sack one of our mages and win the fight of the day. The sun sets, and now we just have to close things out. except the day took a toll on our HP. Thankfully, Baldrus was close to leveling up, which fully restores health. Finally, the last patrol arrives. Its leader is a hard-to-hit fencer that ignores zone of control. Keeping one of the expendable mages alive is key here, and thus we can reliably kill the leader in a single turn. Magic attacks don't care about difficulty to hit after all. We mop up the remaining soldiers and finally, we barely make it out alive. Scenario 7. Just as I thought the worst was over, the mission begins with a looming fortress and a guard that keeps growing. We need to step onto a tile in each of the 4 keeps to destroy the support beams, thus ending the castle's existence. The guides online all talked about the need for an army to create openings to get there. Okay, maybe it's time to change the challenge. How far can we get without recruiting or recalling? I came up with a plan and figured we might be able to get 3 of the 4. There are orcs to our east that are hostile to both us and the castle guard, so we'll have to go around clockwise. As we head north, Harper's fast movement allows us to go onto the tile and back out the next turn. The enemy AI seems to prioritize staying in the castle if they can't attack you or capture a village. Therefore, we can set up Harper perfectly to slip into the castle. The enemy will get 1 turn of attacks on Harper, but his high chance to dodge is very useful. Baldrus goes north, and Harper joins him to heal his wounds at those villages. We send the mage to the northeast tower, but more on him later. As the battle wears on, a new party appears. A friendly cavalry charge appears to help us out, crashing into the gates of the castle. The orcs and horsemen are both doomed attacks, but are useful for distracting our foe. As the soldiers prioritize defending the gates, the northwest tower opens up, and Baldrus strolls in the middle of the chaos, and just walks back out like he was only there because he forgot his keys. Back to the mage. The 2 distractions leave the northeast tower thinly defended, and it's time we take advantage of that. We can set up the proper movement to have the mage rush in and activate the 3rd tile. Due to his slower movement speed, this will end with his demise. Unfortunately, there's not enough time to heal Harper and wheel him around to do this himself. With all that done, the chaos begins to turn into order. The daily reinforcements will quickly crush the orcs, and our friend with the horses is vanquished as well. With no more orcs in the southeast, I moved around to the final tower to see if there was anything I could do to sneak in that last tile and get the victory. The difficulty of it is that in defending the castle, if the tower is full, the enemy puts a unit on the tile we would need to sneak into. So how do we get there? The only option left was to build an army to force them out of the tower, like our cavalry friend did. Or, that's what I thought. As the dust settled, I noticed something peculiar. At the dawn of each day, like clockwork, as reinforcements arrived, the tile we needed was vacated to make room for one of those reinforcement units. A critical flaw in the AI, an opening I thought was impossible. We take advantage of it as the next day rolls around. It was just a matter of not dying to the next few attacks. It could have very well happened, but the AI prioritized staying in the castle over occupying the mountain space for another attack. And with that, Harper runs out of the mountain, our job finally complete. Oh, the enemy leader was nothing but elated. The orcs crushed, the horsemen gone. With a steady stream of reinforcements, there was nothing left to stop him. But just as he thought victory would be guaranteed, everything comes crumbling down around him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you beat the Battle for Wesnoth's Liberty campaign without recruiting or recalling a single unit. Thank you all for watching. This is a fun challenge if you want to try it yourself. It makes the story about a few guys causing way too much trouble for the crown.